Hey, this is Chantel Gerardy from the Meaningful Marketing Podcast, and today I have the guest Justin Herald here, and we are going to be talking about startups, and we're going to be talking about making decisions in your business to grow your business. And he's also going to be sharing his story about how he started his business with just $50. And he's a man after my own heart because he also talks about how you don't have to spend money on ads or outsourcing, especially in the early stages. Thank you so much, Justin, for joining us.
Sure.
So, Justin, tell us a little bit about I call it your hero story, the story where, you talk about this $50, you started a business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, look, I'm referred a lot by other people as the accidental business guy. So I didn't set out to start a business. My dad is a minister and he was the head of the religion when I was growing up. And the problem with being that in that environment is everyone inside the church tells you how to live your life. And I had this particular lady constantly tell me I had an attitude problem. And so one day I just had enough. So it was in 1995, I was 25 years old. And I thought, I'm just going to piss you off. That's the only reason I started my first business. And I just thought, well, if I can put my attitude problem on the back of a T-shirt, then my mates can go to church and I don't have to go anymore just to upset them. And so I went to my bank, to the ATM and looked in my account. I had $1.25. Ended up borrowing $50 from my brother, convinced the printer to make 4 shirts because he said it was going to be $600, and I said I don't have it. So I got 4 shirts made up, sold 3 of those shirts to 3 of my mates. We all went to church the following Sunday. She was ticked off. She still is to this day, to be really honest. And then on the day, people come up and said, I really like your shirt, Justin, which on the back of it, it said, I love my attitude problem. And can we buy one? So my 3 shirts I sold could make 6 shirts, or those 6, 24, up to 24, then 96, and then it kept on going. So over 6 years, on the 6th year of starting, it was a $37 million business, but I ended up owning the word attitude globally, so under trademark, and then companies would license it from me. So cars, Philips did attitude stereos and TVs and stuff like that.
Oh, that's super exciting. So what were some of the learnings that you had when you set up that business?
The first thing I actually realised, which is a bit of a no-brainer, but I realised I didn't know anything. Now, I was lucky. I think people who start a business now are and this is going to come across wrong, but they're in a misfortunate era where the internet's now here. So people now go to Google or whatever and get an answer thinking, well, this is what I've got to do. Now, it's not factual most of the time. Someone's just come up with a theory. I didn't have the internet when I started. Right, so I didn't have any of this white noise bullshit going on, right? So, and starting a business back in those days wasn't something that was a trendy thing to do. And there was no books out there. There was no courses out there. There was no gurus out there. So I realised I didn't know what I was doing, but I also realised pretty quickly I had a skill, not to be a business person, but just to get from point A to point B and connect with customers and do all that sort of stuff and market myself out to the wider audience by having those connections. So I figured out that I didn't know anything, but that was okay. And then I realised that doing business was, and I've still coined this phrase, it's my business, my rules. So I do it my way. And some people go, oh, it's not the right way to run a business. Well, it's bloody well worked for me for 30 years, so it's going okay.
Absolutely love that. So for our listeners out there who may not have heard my story, I originally came from South Africa. I moved here in 2008 and I wasn't doing any internet marketing in South Africa. I just had word of mouth referrals. That's how I grew my business. I grew up there. It was really easy to get clients. But when I came to Australia and I knew absolutely nobody. My husband was working at the time. Then he lost his job twice. So I taught myself internet marketing and I grew a 6-figure business within 5 years. And I did that with knowing nothing. And I did that with no ChatGPT. And what I really love about the fact now that I did it was that I didn't have Centrelink. And because I didn't have Centrelink and I didn't have any money, it had to work.
Yep.
So I had to dig in and I actually had to do the things that needed to be done in order to make a business.
Well, there's that saying that you can't fit a square peg in a round hole. You can if you force it, right? And that's what starting a business is all about. Even now, like there'd be people who are listening to this who have been in business for a very long time. 5 years ago, someone licked a bat overseas and it threw the entire world into disarray with COVID, right? So in the last 5 years, we've had to go and change the way we do business. So those people have been in business for, say, 10, 20, 30 years, now would be doing business a different way. So the thing that I love about being a business owner is it's going to get crazy at any point in time. I'm waiting for it to go ass up. I love drama, right? So, and that's when I think if you embrace being uncomfortable and you become comfortable being uncomfortable, you can then take a business and take it to the next level pretty quickly.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I'm constantly telling people to get used to the roller coaster ride of business. The sooner you get used to the ups and downs, the more you'll start to open your eyes and enjoy the ride, as opposed to constantly living in that fear. And I love what you said there around the fact that, I don't think people can skate by anymore. Well, they just can't afford to skate by anymore. They need to do something that others aren't prepared to do in order to get a result. They need to disrupt the marketplace.
Yeah, and they've got to be a little bit more deliberate. If things aren't working, the deliberate action then is to go and change something. Where I see this with a lot of mentoring clients. I've always done it this way, Justin. I want to keep on doing it this way. Well, good on you. Go on, see how that works. So I'll change stuff. My staff think that I actually created COVID because they know I love a drama. But sometimes I'll deliberately go and disrupt the way we're doing things just to keep, number one, my staff on their toes, because I don't want to have any part of we've always done it this way in my business at all. So there's got to be changes all the time, and that's where, I don't, and I'm different to a lot of people, I don't have business plans. I don't have forecasts. I don't have any of that. The main reason is if you asked me 30 years ago, where would I be in 30 years? Nowhere near here. So I would have potentially planned my way to something less than this. So that's why I own so many companies now. I've got my fingers in many different pies because I just love different shit all the time.
Oh, I just love that. I'm one of those people who hates that, 5-year plan, 10-year plan. There is no way in hell that someone would tell me that I would own a marketing agency or a marketing software company and I'd be doing VA coaching and internationally. There's absolutely no way that they would ever be on a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan for me.
Well, I just launched a software company too, and I can't even spell IT. So it's and that's why I think as business owners we've got to start looking at what can I potentially do as opposed to what is actually stopping me from doing anything. I think we focus on the negative too much, which is understandable why. But we focus on that instead of giving it a right royal crack. And if my theory is if I don't spend a great deal of money setting things up, then if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. If you spend a shitload of money and it doesn't work, then it sort of matters. So I think people have got to get their entrepreneurial brains back into business a little bit more. And I'm not a fan of the whole theory that everyone's entrepreneurial. I don't think they are. I think some people got it as a natural skill and some people need to learn it. Yes. And you can learn it, but, being I just love it, so I'm going to offend someone here, but you can go to university now and do entrepreneurial studies. I don't know how you can learn to think outside the square, right? So that's all being entrepreneurial is. It's just, is forcing that square peg into that round hole. That's all it is.
Yeah, I love that. I'm always talking about skills, strategy, systems, and support. If you get those 4 S's, that's the simple way to make sales, And if you're lacking in certain skills, then you need to upskill. And I think we live in a world right now where people are constantly looking for quick fixes. So talk to me a bit about that. I mean, you must see that all the time, right? People are looking for quick fixes. What are some of the things that you'd see?
Oh, well, look, first of all, if success was easy, everyone would be successful, right? So the reality is it's not going to be easy. I think when you get comfortable with that notion, then you're going to be okay. So quick fixes, people are thinking that, and it's my favourite thing to talk about, paying a lot of money for someone's advice means it's going to be better advice than someone that's not as expensive. Not sure where that whole theory's come into play. For me, I'm the world's biggest tight ass. I am not going to be spending a fortune if I can find something better and cheaper.
Yeah.
So I want the information to be good, not the price to be a thing. So I think that's one of the first things. I think quick fixes, there is always a better way, but it might not be the way right now. So I see a lot of people doing the bright and shiny thing, oh, look over there. And one thing I'm noticing at the moment, people are changing their whole method about what they're doing because they're going, the times are getting tough, so I've got to change everything. No. You might have to change a few things. So I'm very big on strategic quitting, and which goes against what everyone's been taught, right? So I believe that some things are not going to work. So you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You just go, okay, well, let me find, and what we call it the X gap. So what's the execution part that we're not getting right? It's not the whole picture. It's just one little thing. So let's find that and let's go and change that. So I think people need to be putting a little bit more focus on the smaller things that they're doing inside their business, the relationships they've got with their customers, the pricing they've got, the distributors they've got, the suppliers they've got, the if they're dealing with a retailer, the retailer they've got, what prices are they being dictated by someone else on how to run their business? A lot of suppliers do that. My suppliers know, my business, my rules.
Oh, my gosh. So many good things in there. I've got 3 things for us to talk about.
Sorry, I talk a lot.
No, I love it. 3 things to talk about. So the first thing is, and I see this as well, is that when something's not working, they just want to throw it away or completely change it. And I actually did a Facebook post about this yesterday where I spoke about how they'll do this with virtual assistants, they'll do this with systems, and they'll do this with the marketing funnels that they have. And they'll go, this isn't working. And they'll either just keep waking up every day, pumping money into it, even though it's not working, and do nothing about it, or they'll go and they'll completely throw it on its head and they'll just get rid of the software, get rid of the virtual assistant, get rid of the funnel. And at the end of the day, they haven't actually sat down and done their due diligence. They haven't looked and gone, is this actually working? Like, is it the fact that I'm not giving my VA the marketing strategy? Is it that I'm not actually giving them support? Is it because I'm not sitting down and planning with them? Is it because I'm not actually fully utilizing the system because it's too hard, I don't want to learn how to do it? Like, so they just go, I'll just throw it up in the air and throw it away. And then thousands of dollars, this happened this week, a lady's just gone, she spent probably around $30,000 setting up the marketing, and now she's gone, the software's too hard to manage. So she's just said, cancel everything. And I was like, do you want to cancel 30 grand's worth of everything that you've set up? It's perfect. It's great. You just got to get someone to do or learn how to do it yourself. Just throwing it away. Kills me.
Well, you find, we sort of mentioned this before, but there's too much of a ready, fire, aim mentality going on in business now. Like, there's nothing deliberate. So, like, as long as someone hits a goal, yeah, that's the one I wanted to go for. No, it wasn't. And so I think what we've got to do is actually figure out, and I'm very different to how a lot of people think in business. And one way I can prove that is I've never had a business goal, ever. My goals are personal goals. So, and I'll get people writing to me after I say this one, but it's stuff. I'm a car nut. It's cars. It's where we live. It's the holidays we go on, because I'm in business for the benefits, right? And if I'm not living the lifestyle that I really want to live, or having the car that I really want to drive, or go on the holidays that we want to go on, that just means my business is not working. So I now know what to fix, right? So I think a lot of people, number one, don't have any goal, so they're aiming at nothing and hitting it every day. But secondly, that they've forgotten why they started the business. I didn't start the business to become a business guy. I started it to piss a lady off and to have more than $1.25 in the bank. That was it. So if I lose sight of that, then the business ethic that I've got goes away. So that's why, for me, I find business very easy. I love pissing people off. All of my businesses has started purely because I'm pissed off or wanted to piss someone off. Customer culture started because I'm sick and tired of being treated like a piece of shit when I spend my money. Junior entrepreneur started because I'm sick and tired of how the education system doesn't teach kids on how to start a business, but will teach them how to go on social media. Refer Us started because your customers are the biggest salespeople that should be promoting your business. Like, I just get pissed off with that, and that's my mantra.
Oh, that's awesome. For me, everyone knows that I am an online marketing strategist, and my whole goal is to spend less time online. That's my whole goal, is to spend less time online so I can play more. So I'm all about playing, and that's the reason why I do my business, and I love my business because it gives me the opportunity to do that. So you spoke a little bit about a few things there, and one of the things that I want to talk about is how a lot of people will come to me and they just want, for example, pretty Instagram profiles. And all they care about is looking pretty on social media versus their social media or their Instagram actually performing.
Yep.
And it's all ego driven. It's not actually performance driven. It's not business driven. And I see so much of that when it comes to the marketing, because they just want everything to look pretty and look all perfect. And business isn't pretty and it isn't perfect, and it can still perform exceptionally well. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, I think when business owners understand this next principle, they'll be okay. People buy off people they like. And so the thing that I thoroughly enjoy about my success from a me perspective is I now get away with being me. I haven't changed anything. I'm dressed up for you today. My wife will be very happy. She's in Sydney at the moment because I've actually got shoes on and I've got long pants on. But same when I speak at 100 conferences a year, and this is how I turn up. I am the guy that did what I did, which means I can be the guy that did what I did. So I'm not going to change that. And I think when business owners actually start to put their personality out to the marketplace, because people buy off people they like.
Yeah.
Right. So you go and and I've been to many businesses, and you've probably done this as well. You go to a restaurant, and you go, hang on, this looks nothing like your Instagram. We've come because of what's there, and now we're getting this over here, and you go, it's a bit ridiculous. So no one can ever say when I turn up and do what I do, oh, wow, I thought you were going to be a lot different. They know exactly what I'm going to be, and that's why people book me to speak, because they want someone I'm going to say normal, and I'm not sure if I am, but normal, as opposed to someone pretending to be something.
Yeah.
And I think if we just give ourselves permission to be ourselves, then your customers are going to absolutely love that. And the thing with that too is there's too many businesses now that have no public face, right? You've got to deal with someone else, or you never get to talk to the business owner. And people always try me on this one, and good luck. But there's only one person that answers the phone in all of my businesses, still to this day. That's me.
Yeah, wow.
Because I know that people want to talk to me at some point. I'll give them to other people if need be. But I know that they want to. I don't want to have any gatekeepers stopping people from contacting me. The main reason is I'm here because the normal average Joe spent money on a T-shirt or on a course or heard me speak. Why the hell would I then remove myself from any access to those people?
Yeah.
So I think, and that sort of is the thing that, especially with my books, because I've sold them all around the world, when people read it and then email, and within 5 seconds I email back, or they ring up and they can't believe it. That's great marketing. Like, they go, well, this guy's actually who he's in his book.
Yeah, that personal touch. And I think too many people try to step outside of their business way too early, because there's this thing now called laptop lifestyle and freedom lifestyle where, you don't actually have to work all the time, and you can outsource everything. And even though I'm into all of that, I'm very much about being authentic and being part of your business.
Yeah, the problem with that too, because I see it all the time, but then all they're doing, their public face, is showing everyone what lifestyle they're living. Yeah. Like, you won't, if you go to any of my social media stuff, you will not see my stuff. It's none of your business. Like, my success is not for other people to judge. My success is an internal thing. I actually think I'm a bloke who sold a few T-shirts. That's how I view myself. So if anyone sees it any different, or I have to pretend that I'm something different, now we've got a beautiful house. I've got some nice cars, but it's no one needs to see that. So I just get over the wank part of all of that. Good on you for living the lifestyle like that, but just don't shove it in my face, because it means nothing to me. It doesn't mean that you're any better than I am or you're more successful. I don't really care. And I think your customers don't either.
Yeah, well, some of my most popular posts on social media have been me sharing about the real truth behind a laptop lifestyle. And I'll be sharing that, whilst there's all these other photos and all these other pictures of me going here and me going there, you've got no idea what's actually happening behind the scene. I'm trying to manage dogs, manage kids. I've had to see doctors in between, and and everybody looks at it and goes, this is amazing. She's on a cruise and then she's flying here and she's doing that. I'm like, do you have any idea how what actually has to go into that?
Well, it's
the
taken
discipline,
me 30
commitment.
years to become an overnight success, That's the thing. And it's the hard work that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Given a choice, I'd rather not work if I had the choice. But, I've got kids. We've got I'm now a grandfather. Like all this stuff. But I did retire when I was 32, and that lasted about 2 weeks because there's nothing to do.
I was going to say, you would self-combust.
I know. There's nothing to do. And my friends didn't want me turning up and visiting them at work because they're going, well, we got to work. So I've worked out that I just need to work, but I work my way though. So
Yep, for sure. Well. So you spoke a little bit earlier about people when they're looking for business coaches, or they're looking for solutions, and they're looking for mentors in their business. And I know we spoke briefly about it before we started, how people don't really do their due diligence. So many people would choose like another marketing agency or solution over me versus someone else because, today I dressed up. because there's video footage. But usually I'm in my active wear, and I'm very casual. That's how I have my meetings.
Yep.
I'm highly intelligent, if I do say so myself. But they'll choose other people and not me. And then I look at it and I go, those people have never, ever run their own business. Like I built a 6-figure business with no money, no ads, no investment, with absolutely nothing. And yet they'll choose someone else, and they'll choose someone else more expensive because it might be that quick fix that they're hoping for, or they might have a really good salesperson. And I always say, I don't bullshit. I'll tell you exactly how it is. I'm not going to promise you the world when I know that this is going to be work. It's going to mean work. So talk to us a little bit about, what you see when it comes to people looking for solutions in their business with coaches and whatever.
Yeah, look, so I mentor about 100 business owners a year, and I love doing it. And I normally get the numbnut going, well, what do you charge? Well, my ex-wife doesn't take a lover's currency anymore. But if you give away information for free, people don't value it. Now, I deliberately charge way less than everyone else, purely based upon the fact, 2 reasons. One, I want to upset the people who are overcharging. But secondly, I speak at 100 conferences a year. I get paid very well to do that. So if I can then reduce my price to help people, then I'll do that. That's my main way of doing it. So I charge what I get paid to speak at a conference is what I charge someone to work with me for a year, and it's one-on-one. There's no pretend Justins or anyone overseas helping. It's just me working with them. I'm constantly shocked on a few things. Number one, how many people don't have a mentor. Now I'm going to upset. So I know I'm going to upset people. There's a difference between a coach and a mentor. And people need to realise that. A mentor is someone that's done it. A coach is someone that's learnt it. And I'd rather learn from someone that's done it. So I've still got, after 30 years, mentors in my life that I pay a lot of money, a lot more than I charge. And it's deliberate. They've run massive companies, or they've been CEOs of big worldwide companies. And so I get information from them, and I not so much, I don't go to them and go and tell me how to grow my business. I'll go, here's what I'm thinking about doing. So recently when we launched Refer Us, I went to one of my mentors and said, here's the concept, what do you reckon? He came back and goes, I'm not sure if that's going to work. And I said, I'll tell you why it is. And he goes, I get it. Yeah. I understand it. So they're a sounding board for me. And I think people need to invest into that. They need to also do research. I want to learn from someone that's actually proven what they're teaching me works. Now, a lot of coaching companies, actually have these formulas. Good on you. But I have not had the same conversation with a different client ever.
Yeah.
Because their business is different, their personality is different, their market is different, everything is different. So it has to be that one-on-one approach. So I think people need to invest into that for themselves. You get the right mentor, you won't have to spend a fortune on marketing and growing your business because they've already done it. So I want to learn from someone who's made their mistakes so I don't have to make my own mistakes. That's sort of my theory. So yeah, that's what I'm here for.
And I think when you go out into the marketplace and you're looking for solutions, you've got to read testimonials, potentially even call some of the clients that the business owner has actually worked with before and have a look at it. And I love what you said there about formulas, because formulas are basically cookie cutter, and working in group programs, just like formulas, is actually that business's way of making their life easy. It's not their way of making your business better.
Yeah, well, I just launched a leadership program, and I'm heading for emerging leaders, right? Because there's a lot of people going from team player to team leader, and because they've got a promotion, right? They've got no training. They now got to be in charge. Instead of being the friend, they're now got to be the person in charge. And if you look at corporate especially, I'm getting myself into trouble a lot here. The leadership team have been put there by mistake or by default. So they're now the people in charge of training the new leaders, and when they're not a good leader in the first place. So and this is where, and so I get companies all the time going, oh, well, we're going to go either with you or we're a different one. We go, well, I had a lot of staff, 180 odd staff, so I know how to lead people. So it's coming from that perspective. But then I saw a program the other day that I got the job, but they sent, here's your opposition for this pitch. And it was all cookie cutter. It was, you going, hang on, that's not going to work. And I get why people do it. I think in business now there's a lot of a big trend on compliance more than there is on competence, right? So just ticking the box on, we did some staff training, well, good on you, but did it work?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what, as a business owner, you've got to sit there and go, where's my problem? Where do I suck? Which is what I look at myself all the time. And how do I fix it? And who can help me fix it quicker?
Yeah, that's awesome. Some really good advice there. So if you were to leave one important message for startup business owners right now who are struggling in making their next decision, what would that be?
Well, number one, have a crack. Make decisions that won't affect you if it doesn't work. Right, so don't make financial decisions. Don't go, I'm going to spend a fortune on something and hopefully this works. Well, don't do that. Get a good team around you would be a good thing. My big thing, like in all of my business, we have a mantra. We go after our customer's customer. That's how we do business. That's why we haven't had to spend money, right? So make sure that your customers love what you do. Make sure you get them to refer for you. That's weirdly, that works. Word of mouth is a massive way to grow your business, and make sure, because when people like you as a business owner, they'll do anything to help you grow. So just don't dismiss any of the simple shit, right? The foundations that we put before building a house determine how big our house is. So make sure that you've got foundations. So the simple stuff, the basic stuff, is the stuff that's going to work for your business. So don't dismiss any of that.
And I love that. There's so much good advice in that. And it comes down to those foundational things again. So many people dismiss things like collaborations, partnerships, retention strategies, loyalty strategy, word of mouth referrals. These are good old school foundational methods and people they'll go to Facebook ads.
Yeah, which won't work. Like if you look at social media now, like we'll sit out the front, went to social media. I can't tell you anyone that I know on my feed. So that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
But what I'll do on the way home is I'll ring up a few customers that I've had for a very long time and go, how you going? And they'll go, what's up, Justin? I go, nothing, I'm just ringing you. It's not a transaction.
Yeah.
It is a connection. That's all we've got to do.
Yeah, it's all meaningful, and that's what this podcast is all about, meaningful marketing. So thank you so much, Justin, for coming today. Where can people connect with you?
Pretty simple. Just go to justinherald.com, Herald.com, and I'm the guy that will answer your phone call, and I'll be the guy that emails you back. But, yeah, a lot of information on there.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much for being here today. This is Chantel Gerardy from the Meaningful Marketing Podcast. And if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe and leave a rating or comment below.